because today I have the honor and the pleasure of interviewing three distinct television personalities from Pakistan. These three television personalities have come to Miami on a concert tour which will bring goodwill to their fellow Pakistani Americans in Miami. And I'd like to introduce my first guest, Mr. Iqbal Ansari, who is a prominent producer and director for Pakistan Television. I'd like to welcome you to our show.
Thank you.
And his wife, Mrs. Bushra Ansari, who of course has been entertaining viewers for the last 10-15 years and has the distinction of being a presidential award winner, which is one of the highest awards that any Pakistani artist can achieve in their career. And of course, Mr. Athar Shah, I'd like to welcome you too, sir. Mr. Athar Shah has a very popular character of Jedi that he played. He normally acts in comedian roles. That's right, sir. I'd like to welcome all three of you to our program today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to start with the fact that as a Pakistani artist, having been on television for 10 years and 27 years or so for you, sir, what changes have you seen the Pakistani television taking place, both in terms of technology as well as the kind of programs that have been coming into air recently?
Well, Uzma, there is a great change in 27 years. First Pakistani television station was established in 1964. At the time, we had a very, very small studio. And the production was very difficult for a producer. But a writer had also difficulty in writing because he had to write one set play.
I see.
It was impossible to make two sets. There was a big room.
Right.
And it was difficult to erect a big studio like a big drawing room or big bedroom.
Living rooms, right.
Yes. So artists had also a problem because there was no VTR system, video tape recording system. Everything was live.
I see.
So there was a great problem for writers, producers and artists. But in 27 years, we have achieved a lot.
Right.
Now there is modern technology, video tape recording system, better production. And Mr. Ansari can tell you about the production.
Mr. Ansari, if you touch on the production.
Yeah, it was black and white, and the production grammar was very weak in the beginning. The same problem was with the artists. They were amateurs, but they were performing on television.
Right.
But now the quality of performance and the quality of production is almost on a very high standard. And some of the production you can always compete with the European television.
Right, Western television.
Yeah, Western television. So I think this is a great achievement in 27 years.
Definitely, certainly it has been a great achievement. Mrs. Ansari, Bushra, how would you describe Pakistani soap operas in terms of the dramas that are viewed late at night? And if you have had an opportunity to watch any of the American soap operas, they seem to be never ending, whereas Pakistani dramas, after a certain episode, they end and you start a new drama. Would you describe some of the cultural or some of the issues that are discussed in the Pakistani soap operas?
Usually Pakistani dramas are based on Pakistani own cultural and society pressures and society problems of their own countries, of their own environments. So we can't compare main issues of the Western television and the Pakistani television, but they have improved a lot because they are working on good fresh ideas.
I see.
And they have so many fields to discuss about.
What characters have you, this is for both of you, I'll start with you, sir. What character, one special character have you played that has sort of been the most enlightening character that you have played, and has it had any cultural or any particular issue? Has it addressed any particular issue? And if you would tell us the name of the soap opera.
Well, I haven't done many characters in television. The main character I did was Jedi. Jedi is a goof, a complete stupid, because I like comedy.
Right.
And that's a comedy character, and I haven't done more characters in television. This is my main character, Jedi. And he speaks wrong English,
I see.
and that's very popular among Pakistani viewers.
As a parody, making fun
Yes,
of the
yes.
English-speaking people or the majority. Coming on parody and comedy, Bushra, for those of your fans who love you as a comedian, you have also done a lot of parodies of some of the other artists in the Pakistan television and even in the cinema. What are the other than you? Are there a lot of women in comedy in Pakistan?
There are some women, but this was the only field. Nobody has done this before, because parody is a different kind of comedy, and usually, I mean, it doesn't work in our country because people who are imitated, I mean, the person, I mean, I am going to imitate, he might mind it.
Right.
So we don't have that courage to accept it, but I did it and people liked it because
People
it was, I
appreciated
think,
it.
very near to them.
Right. Mr. Ansari, from a production point of view, unfortunately, the Western media, especially television broadcasting in terms of news, is done in a more casual atmosphere, where sometimes you find the two anchormen cracking jokes or even pointing something about a certain figurehead that they've just spoken about. Whereas in Pakistan, the news is done in a more conservative and serious, sober tone.
Yeah.
Would you tell us the advantages and disadvantages of both in terms of American media and the Pakistani television news?
In fact, I think this has to do something with the expression of the locals.
I see.
Our society takes things when they are spoken very seriously, otherwise they don't take it,
Seriously.
So mostly the plays, the themes, the characters, you see, they're morbid, they're serious, and it's a part of our expression as a nation. We produce only those problems which are existing there. People are not light-minded and light-hearted there because they are stuck with many socio-economical problems. So naturally they like to see we produce the reflection of society.
Right.
And we have to show them their problems with certain suggestions. So the American society or the Western society, generally they are light-hearted people, not chained with so many social bindings and economical pressures like we are.
Right.
So that makes the difference of Khabernama,
Right,
the
which is the news.
news, because the receptivity of the audience goes with the serious type.
Right.
It does not go with the lighter tone like the news here.
Sometimes actually I think you would say that the serious aspect of giving news is advantageous, because sometimes local broadcasters, they seem to be just playing with each other in terms of popularity ratings, and sometimes they don't get the message across and they're too busy showing themselves off as anchormen. That is a serious problem. Yes, it happens here. It doesn't. I don't think it happens anywhere else.
Because if the viewers are involved in the makeup, in the get-up and dress, and that is why we keep the girl sober and dry.
Isn't that also a result of religion?
It is generally. Actually, everything is reflecting from the society.
It is inspired by the religion
of Islam, right. At the same time, my next question is going to be sort of a paradox, because here we are trying to portray to our viewers of how news broadcasts are done in a serious scope, and yet I think as a result of that, unfortunately, the Western people and particularly Americans are not aware of the fact that the people, women coming from third world countries or Muslim countries such as Pakistan, they're not suppressed, they're not oppressed, they certainly have their freedom, they're liberated at a certain level, and yet we do have the conservative type. A lot of people are under the impression that maybe a Pakistani woman is not exposed to television, and yet Bushra, you are obviously the other side of the conversation. But I'd like to ask you if you would tell us a little bit about women's role in television in Pakistan.
Actually, what happens that because of our religion and our own values and limits, there's a society limit.
Right.
That if we see a girl or a boy, if we find any talent in a child, we don't have any plan to groom that talent.
Right.
See, and especially for the girls,
Right.
Usually it happens sometimes that they suppress the girl, that you are not going to do this and that, and you are not going to perform on television or radio or anything like that, because it might not acceptable for everybody in our society. But that's wrong, that every woman is suppressed. Not
Right, that's not true.
That's not true. There are many girls in our field, and there are so many fields in our own performing arts. We have so good, some good producers and set designers and makeup artists, and you can find, I think, more or less 100 girls in our own field.
Right.
That they are doing very well and outstanding.
And that would probably just be in Karachi television,
Yeah.
leaving alone the rest of the country, of course, with Lahore television and Quetta and the other cities.
There's so many.
Right.
There's so many. They're doing very well their jobs,
Right.
and they're well groomed,
Exactly.
well known also.
Right.
They're
Can
not
I
suppressed.
add something to
Of course,
the same? I think it is just a misconcept
Right.
here in the Western bloc that Islam does not allow
Right.
women to work.
That's true.
It is just a misconcept. Islam does allow, and in our history, Islamic history, the women have been contributing a lot,
Definitely.
and even in the wars, even in the every field.
Right.
So the main problem is education. That has kept this kind of feeling there, because the people who are not educated, naturally they would not allow their daughters to go and work, and they will just arrange marriages for them.
Right.
But as soon as we raise the standard of education, everything will be solved. Mostly the girls working in television are from the educated families.
Right.
And as soon as the parents get education, they don't mind, and because they understand Islam and the society and everything very well.
And the limits also.
Right. I think at this point, Ms. Athar Shah Khan, if you would
Yes.
like to also expand on that, isn't it the fact that what we need to clarify is that in Pakistan there is a socio-economic limitation, so to speak. There are the educated people from the cities who, of course, are very liberated, very modern, and yet understand their culture and portray it on television. And then, of course, you have the people who unfortunately haven't yet had the benefits of the fruit of education in the villages. And those are the people that sometimes people have a misconception of in the Western world. Is that true?
Yes, but he has described education very well, because the ratio of education is only 12.5% over there. So we have to educate the people
Right.
first, and then they will be able to understand the problems.
I see.
It's very essential for them to educate them. In television we have very great problem that let me say, I forgot what I had to say. There are some limitations.
Right.
She was telling you about courage.
Right.
It's a policy matter. I cannot write or act or depict a doctor. If I'm a comedy artist,
Right.
I'm a comedy artist, and if I act as a doctor, the Doctors Association will sue me for that, because they'll say that I'm going to be sarcastic with them.
Right.
So it's very difficult in Pakistan.
I didn't know of that. Does that exist?
Yes,
Sometimes
yes,
it happens, sometimes,
Sometimes.
but not always. But people ask me about my parodies, that
Right.
the artists who were imitated by me,
Right.
do they mind it? I don't think they have. They have any objection on that.
After
because-
all, there is a saying such as imitation is a better form of flattery, and even if you're sort of making fun of them,
Yeah.
of course you're praising
Yeah,
them.
they will.
The word you praise, which is why.
And let me tell you, there was some artist who really wanted me to do that.
Right, right, right.
They used to ask me, what are you doing next week? Next time you're doing, somebody was trying to, scare me that Bushra is going to do your imitation now. And I got it that they really want me to do that.
Right. Well, that's definitely something that's appreciated then by your fans
Yeah,
and
it was
by
very,
the
very
country.
much.
Yeah.
In the American television system, we have the Emmy Awards, and in Pakistan, I know we have the Pride of Performances, the Presidential Awards, and the PTV Awards.
Yeah.
Would you, all three of you, would you like to briefly touch on what sort of these awards and what awards are given out?
Yes, it is. In fact, we started this in 1980, and it was to encourage the professionals.
Right.
And it was with the same feel, like the Academy Awards here and Emmy Awards here. So the best producer, director, artist, vocalist.
So those are the categories
in every field.
In every field, yeah, they used to get, and it is still on, and I think it was nice.
We nominate 3 people, like Oscar and Academy.
Right. And then
then we select one.
Selected. I must congratulate you on behalf of all the Pakistani Americans in Miami and South Florida for winning your presidential award, Bushra Ansari. And would you like to tell us a little bit about the award and what it was for?
It was about all, because you see, I think you know about me a lot. I can feel. I'm basically a singer and a drama artist also.
Right.
And I do serious drama. I try to do serious dramas because people like me more in comedy. Other words, they remember me more in parodies. But I do serious dramas also, and I have won PTV Best Actress Award also in '86, and he was the Best Director and Producer the same year.
Congratulations.
The same ceremony. So it was a great issue that we both won the award at the same ceremony. So, but the Pride of Performance, the highest award of Pakistan, it was a great fun, of course. And there's another amendment you must know, that I am the youngest award holder among all.
Well, certainly, definitely. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. That doesn't mean I'm very young, but the people who won the award, they were all senior to me.
I think we'll respect you and we won't bring your age in here. Speaking of awards, when an American, either movie star or even in television, when they win an award, their prices automatically go high and they are more in demand. Is that true for the budget in Pakistan television?
In television, any Pride of Performance, they get an extra amount with every performance.
Right.
Which is according to our own budget and our own
fee structure.
Right. It is okay, because the economy of America cannot be compared with the economy of Pakistan.
But that certainly adds incentive to
it is.
Right.
Yes.
All 3 of you were here in Miami on a goodwill concert tour. Because we Pakistani Americans, we long to see our artists come here and perform in front of us. Would you tell us a little bit about how your experience was in this concert, and also tell us about how did you feel performing out of the country in America now, not in Pakistan, and on stage, which is a different field. So how did you both feel?
It was real fun. It was very good, and we liked, it was real fun because the people were enjoying, and they know us, and we have so many fans in America also.
Right.
It's a good feeling.
Yes, more than expectations. There was great fun. We enjoyed very much.
So I take it that you will be willing to come back again since that would be very nice. Since unfortunately right now the concerts, of course, are only for the Pakistani Americans or people who understand Urdu, the language of Urdu, I'd like to ask all 3 of you what your ideas are on having maybe increasing this to even the American audience, so that maybe having it in English, because certainly English productions are a part of the performing media in Pakistan. In terms of stage, so don't you think it would be a very good idea to have a concert done on a grander scale with Pakistani artists, so that the American people would also benefit? Your thoughts on that?
Yes, but I doubt that we have any dubbing facility in television. Mr. Ansari, can you tell you?
No, if you're talking about the stage.
Right, the stage.
The stage, I think mostly people who perform on stage, they carry the local expressions for the local audience.
Right.
And it is very difficult for the Americans to understand that wit and sense of humor.
We have a different kind of sense of humor. So
even if it is performed in English, naturally we'll carry our own expressions.
Right.
But we have to blend their and our own sense of humor, so that we should also be happy, and we can make them happy also.
It might be a difficult task, but it's certainly not an impossible one.
No, of course not. It's not impossible. Of course, you are doing the program for the Americans.
That's true. But
it's not impossible, I know.
I think then that we could say that maybe in the next 10-15 years, if we have a growing Pakistani population in America, maybe this might be a realistic idea?
Yeah, it is already, we are working in English on theatre in Pakistan, but there are groups in every city, they are performing in English, and we have very talented people who perform English drama.
Right.
But I think unfortunately they have not come here,
No.
and if they come,
Well,
they
they're
can
really
entertain
good.
the Americans.
I think it's the budget that sort of
Yeah,
scares
that's
everyone.
right.
American centers and German centers and French centers, they are doing very well, and I mean the people, Pakistani artists, they are doing their English plays and Western plays.
At the
And
respective
all
consulates.
all classical dramas.
Right, which touch on the history and
Yes.
Yeah.
traditions of the country. What about variety programs and other? I mean, we touched on soap operas and news broadcasts. What other forms of television? I mean, what other genres are presented in television? Variety shows, etc.
Yeah, I think we have programs information oriented, education and
But we
entertainment.
have talk shows and musical programs and entertainments, of course, and we have improved a lot in our music. Music productions are lovely.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they're outstanding. I mean, everybody likes them very much.
Since you also sing, Bushra, what would you like to tell us about, considering the fact that now a lot of young boys, young men have certainly entered the field of music, and even though they sing in Urdu, there is a Western beat added sort of to the popular music.
They all have bought that new and brand new equipment, and they know how to play it. But that doesn't mean that every band is capable.
Academies for the young talents to sort of get groomed, acting academies or Bushra singing academies in Pakistan?
No, we don't have any acting academies in Pakistan, and this is our drawback,
I see.
because we have to take new talent from stage.
I see.
Yes, and they are very loud in acting,
Right.
in their expression, because they are from stage.
Right. So I think that's one of the drawbacks. But what
Yeah.
about singing academies?
No, not exactly, not academies, but we have some big
Ustads?
teachers, ustads,
Yes,
and they I mean train their shagids
Right, the
and
tutors.
students, yes,
Right.
but not always, because I mean like me, I have not learned anything from anybody,
Right.
and I think I can't sing 100%, but I do sing 75%. It's a God gift. So sometime it happens with the gift of God,
Right.
but there's no proper academy for singing and acting and nothing else. We are just experienced a little.
But I think in the future we just might be having those, since Pakistan television has already progressed.
Pakistani television has become like an academy.
Right.
Yes, yes.
I see. Where the young talents are
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
young
we pick
talent.
raw material and we train them and then we project them on television. And I think this is academy and
the studio
yeah,
itself.
together.
Artists like Bushra are the examples for the newcomers how to act. And the great artists.
Mr. Ansari, in your productions and directions, what sort of issues have you been projecting to the people, and what sort of how have they sort of reciprocated?
The producer director in television has a great responsibility there, because we are told to entertain the audience as well as to educate them. So whatever format we pick, like the drama, we have to entertain them and also make them aware about the problems and to develop their mind. So it is a very tricky matter, and we pick the social themes, try to make them understand the problem and also entertain them, and mostly my themes are related to the social problems. And I think I have tried to make the audience aware
Right.
regarding their problems and to improve their minds, and I think that is it's like a responsibility. So the television producer director in drama works like a social worker in television,
I see.
because he has to improve the society and not only entertain the audience.
So it's a very large, huge task. So
Yeah, and
you know, we're running out of time, and it's very unfortunate because we could go on for hours and discuss this. I'd like to thank all three of you once again for spending this time with us. I know you're here on a concert tour, and I hope, like you said, you enjoy every bit of your stay here in Miami.